Okay, so firstly looking back over to the start of the season, we started really well with wins away at Chester and Boreham Wood. How did that surprise you, the way we started, or did you expect us to come out of the blocks quite fast?
I think when you're promoted, you there's still that buzz around the place, and there's that the players have got that sort of momentum, if you like. So I kind of expected us to have a good start, but I always knew that we'd have a stage where we'd come unstuck a little bit, and people maybe get found out a little bit, and you do as a team. I think that's from previous experience of me playing in sides that have got promoted, and you always seem to start the season well, and then have a little stumble, and that's obviously the way it sort of happened for us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree entirely with what Jay's saying there. The only thing was, I remember the Aldershot game when we went to Aldershot, and that was the first time we'd really got, or I don't know about Jay, he's his own man, but I got that feeling, wow, this looks a little different level to where we've been at. It was it's slightly different to what we'd seen in the past. So we knew, I thought at that stage, hey, I hope it's not all going to be like this.
They were good, weren't they? They were really strong.
Yeah, they were sharp.
It was a good evening, a good crowd, and it was. I think that as well. You sort of went, yeah, this is no disrespect to the levels we've been at, but it's a proper league. It felt like a proper sort of game of football.
Do you think there was an element of that you're treating it almost as cup games, as you sort of go into these bigger stadiums and new level?
I don't think so. I think, like I say, that's when the players have got that buzz and they've got that. It's all new to them. So I remember turning up at the Aldershot game, funny enough, and you see all the players on the pitch and they're looking around, and a few of them, the likes of Pax, Millsy, Flish, people like that aren't used to that. So you could see by their face, they thought, yeah, this is kind of a proper league, really, and that's what it is, and it's and we quickly found that out.
Since that start, obviously, became quite a tough season over sort of the start of the winter. How have you found that, especially you, Jay, considering you're used to success down here?
Yeah, we were just talking about. I had a little bit of obviously when I first took over, we was in the relegation battle, so it was. I suppose I've had a little taste of that, and as a player, I'd had a taste of it in the past. So it is tough. I suppose personally, you get a lot more criticism than what you're used to, but that's part of management, and you've got to be thick-skinned, and I don't let it bother me too much. But of course it's tough. I still enjoyed every minute of it this season, even when you're losing, because you learn all the time, and it's a great league to be involved in. But I knew, to be honest, at some stage it was going to be tough. Obviously you don't want to be in a position we've been in all season, but I knew it was going to be tough, and I was under no illusions that it would be any different, really. So it's difficult, but at the same time you sort of get on with it. That's your job, and you get on with it and try and turn things around.
Yeah, I think it's easy. It's easy when you're on the outside looking in, because I don't think there's too many people who have been a real manager, for want of a better term. Jay's a real manager. He manages at a high level of football, and it's you're a little bit on your own at times. But there is a time there is a time, and I think this came to you. It obviously came to Jay, because we meet every Monday and we have a chat about things every Monday, and they're normally quite okay chats. But there was a time he came in, and I remember him saying to me that this isn't right. You know, there was different words, but that was what he was saying. And in fairness to Jay and to any manager at that time, it happens to us all when we say, hey, wait a minute, we've got to do something about this. There's two things you do. You either change the system, or you change your players, or you do a little bit of both. I think that's about just putting a little bit of a nutshell. There's more to it than that. And he said about change. Yeah.
Do you think that the mix of the squads at the start of the season was perhaps wrong in terms of the lack of inexperienced players who've been at this level?
I think, yeah, if you look at the results and where we were in the league, it is wrong. It is wrong. At the time, I still say, was it possible to get the players that we've got now on loan? Then the answer would have been no. We couldn't get them, because I think, and Bill will agree with me, the likes of the lads we got in the loan, we wouldn't have been able to afford them at the start of the season. That was the way it was, and obviously later on in the season, people would come available because they're not getting in, and we could then look at doing deals with clubs and things like that. So I would have loved to have brought in a few more experience once start the season, but the start of the season is when, and Bill will agree with me here, that all the players at this league that are experienced are asking big money that we couldn't do at the time, and that was how it was. So of course it's wrong, because I'd be to sit here and go, no, it wasn't wrong. It was the right squad would be a lie, because we are where we are in the table. But we needed more experience in, and obviously getting the experience in has proved in results and in performances that in general we've have been better.
Yeah, I think he's done great. Really, I really do. I think that I was thinking about it before we came into this little shoot this morning, that it's ended up with for me. It's almost a mission impossible to do that change of. It's almost 10 out and 10 in. Which has happened. I don't know if you thought about that, but that's what's happened here. Now,
7 players who started that first game of the season aren't with us anymore.
Yeah, but when you really analyse it, it's about going up to 10, and we're about 10 out, and you've got about 9 in, it's something like that. Now, that's very, very difficult, and then it's difficult once you've done that, then to try and get everything to blend and to work well. So I think Jay, and I'm not just saying because we're here, and that he's our manager, and he's a good guy, and he's a bloody good manager and all that, but I think that's the biggest feat he's done. I really do, as a board of directors, to get that change, which is now from a team that maybe wasn't going to give us a chance, but that we might have a team now that is going to give us a bit of a chance. So I think that's the key thing that's happened so far.
I think as well, when you get promotions like we've had the 3 in the 4 years, it becomes, you sign players that you probably think are going to be with you for 2 or 3 years, and then you jump up a level. And last year's a classic of that. We obviously went through the playoffs, and all of a sudden you go, and the likes of Manny's and people like that, I probably signed them thinking they'd be here for 2 or 3 years, and then you jump up and you think, actually, I don't know if they're good enough for this level, and you have to change it all again. And we've had that over the last 3 or 4 years, and you only have to look at probably when we won the Ryman South, you probably got Millsy and Flish, the Ryman Prem, Millsy and Flish, probably packs into that, and that's it. And you have a big turnaround of players, and sometimes that's what I do find hard. You do sign people and you think they've been with us for a few years and they don't quite work out, and we've had that again this season, and sometimes that's difficult.
With the large turnover in players in mind, obviously we're down every Thursday doing the interviews, and we're in the changing rooms, and we see the atmosphere around the changing rooms. So with that in mind, the fact you've got such a huge turnover of players, how do you keep that dressing room buoyant, especially when we're at the wrong end of the table?
It's a big part. I mean, I always make sure we do our homework on what people like as players are like as people, and I think over my years as a manager, I could probably count on one hand people that I probably made mistakes on, if I'm being honest, and with regards to their personality. But I think it's a big part of it, and the lads, you have to try and keep the spirits up, especially when you're down where we are. I think it's massive, and we're fortunate we've got some big carrots in there that let them to do that, and I think with the lads, they know that they can have their enjoy themselves to a certain point, and then when it's time to switch on and that, and I think we've got a good understanding, or they've got a good understanding of the management that's how it works, and yeah, certainly the atmosphere and the dressing room's always been a big part of it.
I asked this to Terry and Oliver a few weeks ago. Are you surprised at the level of professionalism at this level?
No, I'm not. No, not at all. I understand what Terry and Oliver and they're different to me, because I've been in professional football all my life. That's how I make my living, and we were aware of what we were coming into. We weren't aware on that day at Ebbsfleet. We thought we were quite sure that we were going to be having to face, but no, we've done quite a bit of homework over the previous 3 or 4 years of each level that we were coming to, and we knew that this was a very professional level. If you say the top 12 teams in particular, you know, when you look at I mean, you haven't got to be somebody who's been a footballer. And I have to say, when you come up against Tranmere, Forest Green, Wrexham, York, that these aren't going to be professional. They're not going to be Mickey Mouse teams. They're not going to be. I'm not saying that I'm being rude to anybody else, but we knew that this was going to be difficult. What we didn't know, because we hadn't seen it week in, week out, was that this was going to be such a high level of technical players and competitive players. Now, what we have done, and I was going to come back on the point with Jay just now, what he has done in that team spirit is what he's done now, is by getting good characters. You normally find that in life, not just in football, that good characters are competitive people anyway, and they've got that competitive edge to them. And I think that's a big thing that's come into the team a little bit now as well. We've gone a little bit more to what I think that he needs to have a lot of praise for, and the fans need to know, is that we've got quite a competitive squad now. Everybody goes out and plays, says that if I don't perform this week, I could be left out. That's the thing that every player should have anyway, but it's a nice thing that I think we've got in there now. Yeah.
You touched on it earlier about being unable to perhaps sign a few players if you wanted to, and you spoke about money, but were there any other factors that meant you couldn't get a couple over the line that perhaps you would have wanted to?
Money's always
It's normally money.
It is normally money. There was a couple that when you got to look at this level, we took a few from the level below, the likes of Harry Phipps and one or two others, but the majority that we've signed and have come in have sort of made a big difference to us, have been from above, leagues above, or the same level. A lot of them are obviously daytime training, and that was I think I did find a little bit that I was a bit surprised at is that a lot of them are just not used to. And Joe Piggott was one of them. When I said we do evenings, I think they were a bit like, oh, okay. So that was the only other thing really, and the fact we only sort of did 2 evenings. I think a lot of people were surprised we didn't do more, which obviously we've changed as the season gone on. We've thrown a third one in where we can, but money is 9 times out of 10 is the big stumbling block with at this level.
Yeah, they want far too much money. That's what it comes down to. And there's always been in football, all the years I've been in it, which has been a long time, you'll always have 2 or 3 teams at the level that you pay who are prepared to pay it. Every year. And I'm going back 40 years. I'm going back 40, 50, I can go back 60 years. And it's always happened. Every year. We'll have it, we'll have it, we've got it this year, we've got about 5 teams who are prepared to pay it in our level and below. And we've got half a dozen that will do next year. So, but it's something that we're as a club, and I know Terry and Oliver, and we're so lucky. I've got to just say that about having those two around, who are fully aware of what we've got to do as a club. We've got to get ourselves right off the field where we're able to compete with these, and they're working and striving towards that. In their defence, every year they've had to spend 600,000 on building the stadia up, which could have most probably gone towards the team, or some of it gone towards it. So, we're on the brink, I think, of being a very big non-league club, and I think we're on the brink of being able to compete with the big boys. It might be a year or 2 away, but I'm looking forward to that.
Moving on to the North Stands, which we can hear a bit of work in the background. Yeah. How much are you looking forward to having it open, obviously, in 5 or so days against Sutton? Do you think that having that for the fans is going to have a significant help on your running?
I hope so. I mean, certainly looking forward to it. I know all the players are. Every week they come out for training, and it's changed. And Saturday when we train down there, they're all sort of talking about it. And no, I can't wait. And I think what highlighted that, and what a lot of the boys were saying after we played Dagenham, was that when we had all the away support in that end and the noise that was generated, I think that's what the lads they come out and they're saying, oh, it's going to be like when we played there, or even to the Aldershot game we spoke about earlier season when they're all there. So we're hoping the atmosphere, they can get together and really sort of make that a regular thing at home. And no matter what you say, and it does spur you on if you've got that behind you and that extra support there. Well, yeah, hopefully that'll help. But certainly we can't. I'm looking forward to walking out on Tuesday night, seeing it full.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think Jay summed it all up really. I'm delighted. I don't have to keep chasing the footballs anymore. Over the back there, we get them back, keeping the footballs in place. But No, it's a wonderful achievement.
I was looking back on pictures the other day when we first, like the Brighton game, and when you look at the stadium now compared to then, you have to again give the credit to Terry and Oliver to get it looking like it is now in such a short space of time. It's been a great effort.
Has the stand almost been a figure of frustration over the season, knowing that it's probably limited you in some ways?
No, not really. Do you know what? Yeah. No.
He would have preferred 400,000.
Yeah.
Of course he would have done.
But no, it's one of them where, to be honest, since I've come back, and everything has always been geared to, when we first come back, it was getting back here and getting this built when I took over. Obviously when we got promoted, and it was extending this stand, and then so it's kind of something I've become a little bit used to, really. But yeah, of course, it would have been nice to Terry and Oliver to go, there you go, there's so and so to go and get who you like. But I understand what happened to the club in the past and what they don't want to happen again. Bill obviously knows all about that, so it's kind of one of them where I think as a manager you kind of understand where they're coming from, and now I'm doing it the right way. When you go to, and I won't name names, but some of the grounds we've been to this season, and you look at them, and it just amazes me that they've got a centre forward running about who's on 1,500 quid or something like that, and yet you walk into change rooms that have got toilets in the showers and things like that. So it's certainly at this club we do things the right way.
Yeah, I think they have, and again in the defence of which I'm a director of the club as well. I'm not a director who puts money in like Terry and Oliver, but it's not a bad budget. It's not one where you go away and say, oh my God, that's the worst budget in the league. It's not bad. And Jay, again, in his defence, and as you know, I'm a big supporter of Jay. He manages that well. There's lots of other things, and there's a little inside track that I've got to almost finish this on today. There's a little inside track on management that a lot of supporters most probably won't know, and I don't want to embarrass him, but I will embarrass him. So he's done a number of little things that you don't really see. There's been a definite change. The big thing was the change of the players, and as you know, he was involved in getting all stats. He wanted to know exactly what all his players were doing. We don't hear about that. You know, that doesn't come out to the general public. He knows exactly what every player, how much he runs, how many passes, how many headers he does. When he knows, we brought that into play, which we didn't have 3 years ago. You know, and the coaching philosophy has changed. That's up to Jay to bring that in, but the coaching philosophy of change of, hey, this is how we started the season. Hey, we've got this little bit of a problem. We're not getting ourselves up there. We're not stopping this. We've had to change. There's been a new coach come in. Somebody stepped down. You know, it's that's these are little things that have happened. The fitness. You looked at the fitness. I mean, you come in and say, these bloody players are not bloody fit. Like 15 minutes, you know. I get that on a Monday morning. You know, oh, all right, okay, what are we going to do about it? And he's gone out and changed what we do on the fitness. Now, I wasn't at the Dagenham game, but and I was sitting in the chair, looking around on the radio, and I'm thinking, well, we're going to, you know, I don't know if we do well if we're going to point here. We went to Dagenham. We beat Dagenham, and I thought, well, we're going to get mullered in the last 15 minutes. Jay came in after the game and he said, I said, how did we do in the last 15? We were fine, we were stronger. Again, it's down to the management of the team who've gone out and changed fitness. You know, you eat differently, you do differently, we're now at this level. And that you have to say, that's down to the management. That's down to, but people don't see it. They don't see that. You know, the public, they don't ever see that. I see it because I'm on a day to day, and these are all the little things that have maybe, and we go back to what we said earlier. For our supporters, we're only here for our supporters. We're here for ourselves. Obviously, we're here for our supporters. We are giving our supporters a team that is now hopefully, we hope, is going to give us that little chance to get out of it. we've got a mountain declines because we've got some huge fixtures coming up, massive games, but we've given ourselves a little bit of a chance, and it is down to management. Jay and all his team, they've got us where we are, so it's we're like that now, fingers crossed. Yeah.
What's your sort of gut feeling going into this last round of fixtures? What's your overall emotion at the moment?
A bit of frustration with the games being called off, obviously. I think we was on a little 5 unbeaten run, which isn't easy in this league, so that was good. And I think that was a big bonus for us, getting the win against Southport to go in on the back of a win. But yeah, a little bit of frustration. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be hard to call. I think you're going to have to look at Boreham Wood beating Dover 5-0 the other night. It's a stage of the season where you've got teams that have got nothing to play for, that are sitting mid-table. You've got the ones fighting for their lives down the bottom, you've got the ones trying to get in the playoffs, and we've got a mixture of that. You might find by the time we play Tranmere, Lincolns and that actually they're resting people for playoffs, so it's going to be interesting. But looking forward to it. You look at that list, there's some big clubs to play, and I think as players they're going to be up for it. But the one sort of worry is obviously them 3 away trips. That is going to be a big ask, I think, that week. The Saturday at Gateshead, Macclesfield on Tuesday, Wrexham on the Friday, Bournemouth on the Monday. That's a big ask, but it is what it is. And I think the only thing I will say is if we can get points and we're picking up points, then you don't mind, you don't feel that tiredness, and hopefully that's where we'll be at.
Yeah, it's for me it worries it worries me to death, because I think we were so set on staying in this league. It's where we should be, I believe. It's where this club should be at, this level of football, and every time I look at that, I've taken the fixture list down off of in my office now, and I've thrown it in the bin, because every time I look at it, I thought I had to take this deep breath of looking at it. Forest Green, Lincoln, Tranmere, Wrexham, Gateshead, Barrow. I'm thinking, oh my God. But the difference between Jay and myself is that he's a very calm man. Well, he always looks calm to me. Well, I'm not. I've never been. I've been.
Really?
I've been so shocked. And I look at those fixtures and I just find myself going, oh dear. And meantime, Jay's saying to me, look, we'll be, we're fine. We'll take each game at a time. And I'm trying to look to see where the 3 points are, on that list. And he says, no, we'll take it each time. And I think if we go back to that game when we played Dagenham, if you say to him, okay, fine, this is a hard game, we're going to really give it the full go. And we do that every game. We've got to be looking to pick 12 points up, I would think. And all those below us have got to look at 15 or 18. So, we know where we are, we know what we've got to do. And for me, all I can do is cross fingers and cross my legs and pray and get the prayer mats out and say, let's hope that we can do it.
Is it a different kind of pressure to pick up points when you're fighting relegation compared to fighting to maybe get into the playoffs or get into an automatic promotion spot? And does it require a different type of player, do you think?
You'd have to ask the players a bit more than that.
I can't
It's
answer
tough.
that. I can definitely answer that.
Yeah.
It's far harder at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a different type of pressure. It's an absolute different type of pressure. I've only been there a couple of times because I had successful sides. I was lucky over all the years. I've always had good teams up the top. And going for promotion is a lot easier than going and fighting off relegation. And that's just my opinion. It's an awful pressure because every time you go out there,
certainly it's a different feeling when you come in, and I think when you're at the top and you drop points, and sometimes you think, well, it's okay, we're still not far, but this season certainly whenever we've had a good result, you look at the other results, you think, oh God, any chance of something going our way? But it's we're just looking forward to the next game, and then we'll go from there.
With regards to full time, have you got any sort of initial plans laid out, and also Do you think that will have a significant effect perhaps on signings going forward?
We've had a couple of chats about the days we're going to look to do, and that's sort of in place. Obviously we've got to work it with the academy and everything, so there's a lot to be planned. In an ideal world, we were to win our next 4 or 5 games and be safe, and then me and Bill could have a nice meeting and sit down and really plan it. But it is difficult at the moment. It is difficult to plan things, and I don't think I've had a season here yet where we've sort of finished nice and early and then able to plan things. We've always had something going on, and this season's obviously not any different. But I think with players, I'm finding the sort of players we're looking at and the sort of players that we like. I think daytime training will help us massively get them in, definitely. And I even found when we trained over Christmas and we came in at daytime, the sharpness of the lads and the way they're switched on and things made such a massive difference. So for me personally, it's something I'm really looking forward to.
And finally, to finish up on, I'll end it the same way I did with Terry and Oliver. Are you still enjoying being part of a National League side as much as you enjoyed being part of a Ryman League side who were going down to Folkestone and Ramsey?
I enjoy this level more. Yeah, I've enjoyed the whole trip, right from this 5 days. Well, it's our 6th year, isn't it? It's our 6th year. Yeah, it is. And I've enjoyed the whole lot, right from the day we played Brighton. It's been a wonderful experience. It's just seemed to get better and better and better all the time. And where we are now is where I'd really like us to stay. I think that it's, and give us 2 or 3 years that we could then look, can we ever become a Football League club again? But let's get it into perspective. Let's try and stay where we are now, and I'd be delighted, absolutely delighted.
Yeah, without a doubt. Don't get me wrong, we've had some good years, but when you get to this level, I remember as a player getting to this level and you think, yes, it's a good league, and this is the case. And when you go into these clubs and you've got the big clubs coming to you, it's a good level. And that's no disrespect to when we was in the Ryman or anyone, but it is a good league to be involved in.